Now, I think it's pretty safe to say that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their new books, novels, comics, and video games, but also, let's not forget about their new Star Wars TV shows and movies that are currently in the works by Disney and Lucasfilm, as well as new creators coming on board. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about the new universe by, of course, Jon and Dave is that they are going to be taking key elements from the of course, other aspects of Star Wars Legends like Dark Empire, the Thrawn trilogy, Shadows of the Empire, New Jedi Order. I mean, so many fantastic books and pieces from the 1990s and the 2000s to be inserted into these shows. Now that brings us to the next thing that's really big here, is exactly what Favreau recently had to say and tell the fans, and really make it clear to the overall fandom around the entire world about something that he is actually deeply sorry about and apologized for. Now, we're going to get into that in just a second, but Favreau has been a lot more talkative recently. You guys may very well be aware that he's teasing a lot of things for Mando 4, for Book of Boba Season 2, for Tales of the Jedi, and all these different things that are really beginning to move ahead. And Tales is coming out in just a short number of days. All 6 episodes dropping in one night. It's going to be quite a time. And honestly, I think that a lot of fans are looking forward to that the most this fall. So, with that being said too, everything related to the Disney Star Wars universe, related to Jon and Dave's treatment, is that, on top of that, with both Jon and Dave actively working on The Mandalorian 4, Disney executives are beginning to prepare for their major announcements to take place at Celebration next year. Now, it's noted, however, that in a recent interview that Favreau took part in a recent, of course, one, he spoke to the fans directly to apologize for something specific related to the Star Wars franchise. Favreau went on to state the following to the fans: "I will never forget it when it came to my attention that the following, of course, of everything, and when so many fans that were actually very disappointed with Boba Fett that we had worked on for about 7 months. I want to personally say to the fans once again that I am sorry and really do apologize for any kind of confusion or false promises that came out before the marketing began for this installment. It was never our intention for Mr. of course Rodriguez, but it did happen, and it actually is something that we had to fix for the fans, and this was all killer no filler of what he said, when in reality it was the opposite of that. We had spent more time on character development and the show was not entirely in my hands. So I do want to personally apologize to everyone for the heightened expectations of the series, and we are making sure that nothing like that ever happens again with a show that holds such a big character like Boba." Let me just stop here quick before I get to the more involved stuff of what Favreau says. Now, basically what Favreau just told us is that, yes, we already know that this show is not in his hands, but he did say that it was not entirely in his creative control, because a lot of it did have to do with Kathleen Kennedy, believe it or not, because the Boba Fett series was an adaptation of the failed Boba Fett movie that got canceled. Now, where we stand today, this is Jon Favreau really coming ahead and really moving forward, getting closer to the fans, telling them the truth, admitting what really happened, and how, basically, number one, the show was not in his full control. Number two, it was never his intention to market the movie, or the show I should say, market the show as all killer no filler. This was all done by Robert Rodriguez. And it's a big mistake that Rodriguez did, there's no doubt about that. I don't know why he would have said something like that, but it really got a lot of fans way thrilled about the show, thinking that it was going to be all bounty hunting oriented or related. So Jon Favreau addresses this, and he makes it clear to the fans that, this was not his fault. And it makes sense because Robert Rodriguez, love him or hate him, he does have a couple of hits, he does have a couple of misses in his film career, But with Boba Fett, he was an executive producer, and he had a lot of creative power over some of the episodes. In fact, it was Rodriguez that told Favreau and Filoni to put in the scooter gang, as I call them. Alright? So, with the character Drash, which I don't know who comes up with a name like that, but I don't really know. I don't really like the name. It just sounds like a very odd Star Wars character name to me, but anyways, I digress. The thing about Rodriguez is that he implemented too many aspects of his previous movies into Boba Fett. You'll notice, if you guys look very carefully, there are themes of Alita Battle Angel thrown in there. Drash is basically, the main character of Alita Battle Angel. She's got the bionic arm. She's got almost the same hairstyle. There's all these different things in there that are just too similar. The biker gang, believe it or not, is actually loosely based on aspects of some of his other previous films as well. He's got a huge list. So, everything related to that, obviously Favreau and Filoni tried to not make this happen, and they could not call the shots. Now, moving to the next thing. Now, even from the start, he goes on to say, to be very open to you all, we figured this show may have some trouble with the fans, Jon says, for spending too much time on Boba's different side of life. It was never my intention, and I would have done things differently if everything were up to me at the time, to stick with the bounty hunting aspect of Boba. I remember, of course, the time that we came up, and of course everyone was begging to do that side of Boba, such as Tamora Morrison. And so we are working on creating that beloved version of Boba in an exciting new project that we think fans are going to go crazy for, but that's all I can really say. So, Favreau also literally coming forward and telling us that even Tamora Morrison actually begged Jon Favreau to bring back the old version of Boba Fett. And Tamora's talking about, the real ruthless bounty hunter that really takes on his bounties and brings them in dead or alive. That is the side of Boba Fett that fans wanted to see. Now, some of you guys may like what we got in Boba Fett. That's perfectly okay. Everybody has their own opinion. But not everybody liked that side of Boba of taking over Jabba's palace, being a bit more empathetic, a bit more compassionate, just kind of being the kind guy in this show. A lot of fans did not necessarily like that. It was a different type of Boba Fett, and even Tamora Morrison, the actor that plays Boba Fett, even said that he was not on board with that side. He wanted the old Boba Fett back. So when you have the main actor saying that, things are out of place. There's no doubt about that. But if you guys like that type of Boba Fett, listen, it's perfectly fine. It really is. Everybody has their own opinion. I'm not, tossing everybody to the side here or anybody to the side. But there's no doubt about it that a large chunk of the fans had a lot of issues with the show. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.